Hey, hey, hey.
So
pretty much
try
at
it
this
now.
point,
okay. Can anyone hear us now?
someone said no.
No, they cannot. My name is Shanda. I like to rap.
Can y'all mime for us? No.
Hello.
Oh,
okay. Hey, all right.
We can hear ourselves now.
Okay. All right. Sign language, maybe. That's what I was
Yeah, I
saying,
don't know how to
Hannah.
turn-
If I would have stuck with that sign language. Okay.
All right. There
All
we
right.
go. Thank you, thank you,
Okay.
thank you. Yes, thank you,
You
Bill
can hear
and
us.
Teresa. Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Let's see. Melissa, hey, girl. Thanks for tuning in again. Emily Medlock.
Emily
hey.
Medlock. Wow.
I need
Yeah.
another grand entrance.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Without
For
any
your
further
viewing
ado-
pleasure.
All right.
Here he comes. He has saved the day once
He
again.
has saved the
folks.
day. Yes, he has. Ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome.
I don't know if his head will fit in the camera now,
Weston
but
Hinson. Okay. Maybe we
Thank
should
you.
start all over again. This is Love for Music City, #Girls Session. It is July 29th.
Yes.
We have a big giveaway going on today here in Middle Tennessee. School supplies are given away, so we have a lot happening, but we wanted to stop in and chat with y'all for a little bit. So we hope you will like and share, invite someone, let us know if you can hear us or can't hear us. That's always good.
If you
Oh,
can
yeah.
hear us, turn it up.
Yeah, turn it up. Gather
Because I can hear us.
yeah,
gather the family around the
table,
screen,
yeah.
right? Okay.
around the phone.
Around the
The phone,
phone.
the iPad, the smart TV with
We
Facebook.
are very privileged to have our producer, Weston Hinson, on the show with
Yes.
us today.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to
producer.
ask you guys just to, bear with us here. We have a serious topic today,
The joy of the Lord is our strength
but
today.
we're going to try to get through it.
Yes,
He
we
always
are.
keeps us in stitches. But our topic today
Hope
is
you're not thirsty.
how to cope with loss, which is a very serious topic. It's one that touches all of us at some point in our life.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to dive into that today. But last week we gave away, we had your daughter on here, Jordy Henson.
Jordy, yep.
She
Yeah.
was amazing. She made a great little
Craft.
centerpiece craft.
Centerpiece.
Yeah, she's so much like her mother. Christy,
Yes,
we miss
she
you.
is.
Love you, girl.
Praying
and
for her today.
yeah, praying for her today. She is down today. So,
Down, but not
she,
out.
Jordy brought on a Blanche and Birdie locket bracelet to give away. And so our lucky winner of that today is Dorinda Owens. So if you know
Dorinda
Dorinda,
Owens.
tag her, let her know that she is a winner of our bracelet, and to inbox us her address so we can get that to her.
So Emily Medlock says, good to see her stylish cousin. I forgot there's any relation there. So,
There is a
Emily?
relationship.
Oh,
with
I
them
didn't
there,
know that.
Medlocks.
all right. So we have given away the bracelet, right?
Yes.
So like and share. So what are we giving away today?
If I can
Do we know?
find it.
It's behind you.
Oh, looky there. It was strategically placed.
Yes. So this is a part of what we're giving away today. A lot
Part
of.
of it.
And so we're doing like a basket we're going to send you all. If you like and share, school supplies, or we picked
Is there
this though.
anything
so
alive in here?
no.
No.
Okay, I didn't want to reach
It's a
my
Not
New
anymore.
backpack.
We took it out. But
This
a
is like
woman
little
might could use
pocket
a
for,
gym
like,
bag,
your,
Computer.
computer.
college.
Cool.
Nice. Got your chevron,
Computer pocket.
right?
And there's a few little supplies in there, school supplies. There's a lunch box
Lunchbox.
in there, a thermal lunch box. So if
Insulated.
you want to win this today, what do they need to do?
What do they need to do?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need to like and share this video with a hashtag girl sessions.
That's
And like
exactly
our
right.
page.
And like
Like
the Facebook
our
page. We want you to like that page and turn on the notifications when we do any videos or put anything on Facebook, post or whatever. And
Let the world know
Yeah.
that you like us, right?
let everyone know,
Let everyone
even if they're
know.
not of the world, that you like us.
So what else do we have going today? So Christy is out. She's a little
Yes.
under the weather is all, but you're filling in for her. We have a big giveaway going on. If you
do.
are in Middle Tennessee and can get to 403 Walton Ferry from in Hendersonville from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., we're giving away all kinds of school supplies. It's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be a drive-through, so it is, what is the term? Safe?
Contactless.
It is-
Contactless.
It is CDC compliant.
CDC compliant. That's what I was looking for.
That.
So you drive through. If you would like to come in, you are more than welcome to do so. And there's going to be a character experience, which is we have princesses and
Video game characters, Sonic
Yes.
the Hedgehog and Mario. And then we're going to have our superheroes, which we have Captain America, Spider-Man, and Wonder Woman today. And inside they get to choose their backpack while supplies last.
They'll get shoes
and
backpack,
shoes for your
clothes.
children. You know, if we have their size and while supplies
Everything
last.
brand new, but I will say for the shoes and the backpacks and the clothes, the child must be present. You can't just
Yes.
take
For
your
everything,
stuff.
yeah. You have to have a child
I've
with
got
you.
15 kids at home.
Exactly. So, and I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Kelly Johnson, the optometrist, one of our women who are working here today, volunteering here today. She works there, and it's their child who's going to be one of our princesses today.
Oh,
Alana,
wonderful.
or I almost said Aaliyah. Anyway, so whatever their names are, I don't even remember. But is it
awesome.
Frozen?
Could be.
Who is it? Anyways.
Elsa, Anna, one of those ladies.
Anyways, it is a big effort for everything that's going to happen tonight. Lots of resources, lots of people have rolled up their sleeves and helped. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's donated. Thank you to everyone who is here working now, will be working tomorrow. Anyways, we also, one more thing, we have Kona Ice.
Yes,
Which
Kona
is
Ice.
like shaved ice, Hawaiian ice.
Hawaiian ice, yeah.
Yum.
Yum.
Fantastic.
So we will be giving those away to the children as well. So we have a lot going on, and hopefully we won't have to be outside too much.
Yeah.
But anyways,
well,
it's very
and
hot.
this is an event that we sponsor. We normally sponsor every Wednesday in July, but because of the COVID-19 and everything, we've decided just to do one big blowout, and that way we can make sure it's safe for everyone. And that is what we're doing today. But we want to say thank you to the Fireplace Fellowship because they host it for us. And without the building, without the location, we would have to find somewhere to do this at. So we're very thankful for them.
Yes. And actually, last week, someone donated online because of the show
Yeah.
to help with the shoes. So
That's awesome.
thank you to our audience. We really appreciate it, and we're going to be giving away some of
And
those
that's
shoes
why we
tonight.
do this.
That's why we do this. That's right.
That is love.
All right,
from
so
Music City.
love from Music City. So what else are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're talking about loss, and I think you asked some questions to
did.
your Facebook followers.
Yeah.
I did.
And I got that ready for Lawson to throw on the screen.
Okay. So the reason why I decided to go ahead and do this topic and talk with you, Weston, about it is because you had put up a post that I'm sure many people seen. What, Wednesday? No, today is
It was
Wednesday.
Monday.
Monday, 2 days ago. That was the anniversary of your dad's.
My dad, yes. That
going
was
to
the
be with the Lord.
25th anniversary.
25th
Yeah,
anniversary.
it's crazy. Hard
Yeah.
to believe. And then the 28th was the 10th anniversary of my grandmother, his mother's homegoing. So July and 14th was Uncle Larry's birthday, and we lost Uncle
that's
Larry
right,
back in
that's right.
April. So
That's
July's
right.
just a terrible month.
So,
for me.
your dad
So-
being gone 25 years, of course, he is a legend,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody I know at least knows who he is, Kenny Henson. But honestly, it kind of struck me because I felt, well, of course, empathy for it. My dad passed away 2 years ago. My mother passed away, 17 years ago, something like that. It doesn't seem that long ago, but my heart did go out to you because you were only how old when your dad died?
When my daddy died, I was 12 years old, but there was also a 2-year, almost 2.5-year battle with the cancer that claimed his life. So, 10 was around the age I stopped being able to really be interactive
Really?
on
So
a
he was
large
sick.
scale. Yeah. And it was difficult, to endure, but, as we'll talk a little more about here in just a second, I'm still here.
Oh, of course.
And so-
Yes.
Well, and you're not just here. You are here, and you are literally, keeping his name, his memory alive, his music alive, his legacy alive. You and Christy and Jordy on the road, ministering, singing the songs, doing what he loved.
Oh, yeah.
And you sound amazingly a lot like him.
Do people tell you that all the time?
They do. I still have a hard time grasping it because I hear just how amazing he was at singing, and he was a freak of nature when it came to talent. So,
I have to say, I'm a little jelly. It's like, your dad's the greatest singer of all time, and you sound just like him. It's like, That's pretty good right
There'll
there.
never be another one.
Yeah,
and,
no,
you
there
know,
will not.
And that is the one thing I came to realize. I don't know how deep you want to get into it yet, but
Hey, we got the whole hour,
Yes,
so.
we do.
but the one thing I came to realize when he passed, it took a few years. You know, you've got to grieve. You have to
do.
go through the process. You can't just eliminate it because it hurts, you know.
Right.
But the one thing I learned was they're not replaceable and don't look to replace.
Yes.
Because that void hurts so much. It's like I've got to put something in its spot. It's never supposed to happen.
No.
And
And can I just say, probably more so for you, though, because you were only 12. Where my dad, he lived full life, served his generation, worked for the Lord his entire life. Amazing missionary. My mom and my dad. But there's really not, when I looked at your picture, I'm like, oh my goodness. But I don't really quite identify, certainly missing my dad and honoring my dad. But man, you were left with such a hole, such a gap.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
every little boy needs his dad. That's
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just getting to that age where you're kind of learning to emulate him. And I think every little boy ought to want to be just like his
That's
daddy.
right. That's right.
And there have been some that cast a broad net of, I guess you would say, criticism to say, oh, he's just riding a coattail, or he's just doing this,
yeah,
or what.
I know what you mean.
And they have their right to their opinion, and they have the right to say whatever they want to say.
Sure.
But I know that I'm just doing what my Father, Heavenly Father in heaven,
Right.
called me to do.
Right.
And it just so happens to be aligned with that for the time being. And, who knows how long God will have us doing what we're doing.
Right.
Well, so what would you say to people? I mean, how do you cope with loss? I mean, that's the title of our show today. So, and here's the thing: you don't have a choice.
Yeah. It's not like
Yeah.
you can put a
You
cheat
gotta
code
figure
in
it
like
out.
a video game and
Yeah.
restart the system.
That's right. You have
There
to figure
is
it out.
you have to walk through the journey. And as my Aunt Jana, as we know,
Yes.
is going through something I've never gone through. I've never lost a spouse, and I hope I
Right.
never do. And that's one of the things that whenever Christy goes through, something, she's got a lot of pain in her lower back today, and been praying for her for a while, trying to figure out what's wrong
Right.
with her back. But when she goes through health things like that, when she went through cancer back in 2016, it was very much like a resurface of here we go.
Oh, no, yeah.
But I don't ever hope to lose that. But my Aunt Jana is one of the strongest people I've seen.
Is she not?
She
oh my
is.
goodness. Yeah.
And watching her being a part of every Monday night that she does,
right.
and seeing her, and I know she's not one to cry publicly or to show grief publicly,
Right.
but
It would be okay if she did, though.
it would
I mean,
be
it's-
totally. And she,
It's a real thing,
If
yeah.
she starts to tear up, y'all excuse me, I don't have anybody to powder my face. But if she was to cry at all, she apologizes and things. I'm like, you have
Yeah.
nothing to apologize for. And everybody deals with grief differently. But like you said, you have to do it.
You have to do it.
You have to come to grips with however long it takes.
That's right.
However long the journey, however dark it might seem. The Bible does say that there's a season for all things.
Exactly.
There's a time to mourn. There's
That's
a time
right.
to laugh. There's a time to,
And let me just say, there's not a right way or a wrong way.
That's right.
the wrong way would be just not dealing.
Well, yeah, I guess. But if you're not dealing with it, you're really not mourning.
Yeah.
So, because I deal with grief and loss differently than my
You've
siblings
lost your
do.
dad,
I've lost
a sister,
a brother,
a brother,
and a couple cousins. Yeah, like a handful of cousins, first
and
cousins.
your brother and your sister. Your sister died suddenly and not that long ago,
Yes.
and your brother
My
died.
brother
was
had
it
cancer.
slower?
He
how old was he?
He was only 40 years old,
Yeah.
and he was diagnosed, and 4 months later he was gone.
Wow.
And then my father, it's been about 6 years. My brother's been 13 years, and with my dad, it's been about 6 years. And he got the same type of cancer my brother got, but he was with us for 4 years afterwards. And it's hard watching, my dad. You knew my dad, and he's a big, like Weston, big robust guy, and just a manly man, and had. Up until the very end, he kept trying to be a dad and a husband and you know, a grandpa. And, you know, those times that I had with him, I treasure those in my heart.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's one time I walked in the house and he wasn't expecting me, and he saw me, he came around the corner and he saw me and he began to cry. Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what are you crying for, Dad? He's like, I'm just so happy to see you. And I'm like, oh, I'm happy to see you too. And I'm like, we're all like ugly crying. And my dad don't cry. So that was a big moment for me, you know, me and him. And, you know, and then we lost my sister 2 years after my dad passed away, suddenly. And man, I'm telling you, it's different between a suddenly death and
Yes,
one
it
that you
is.
have time to,
Which is what Jan
kind of
went through, right?
process. Yeah, and you know that I was devastated. You know, we were getting ready to go out of town for fall break with my sister. You know, with my family when my sister passed away, and you know, and I'm like, this is not real. This is. You know, and I still have times where I'm like, this isn't real. And one of the wildest things with her is I did the funeral. I flew to California, came home, and somehow my phone had messed up because I just talked to her literally like every day, like for 4 days prior to her passing. And she had called me and left me a message, and I didn't see the message until I got home. So I have a voicemail on my phone from my deceased sister when I get home from California.
Wow.
And I was just like, okay, Lord, thank
That
you for
tears you
that.
up.
Yeah. And
Thank
you know,
you for that. Yeah.
yeah. Well, thank you for it, because because she's like, I love you. You know, I can hear, you know, and that's one of the things with me that I miss the most is the sound of their voice.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And for me, it was just, if I could just hear one more time my daddy laugh.
Yeah.
Because he had the most infectious laugh. It's just big and filled up a room, and the voice is important.
So how old were you, Weston, when you figured out how famous your dad was?
Oh, well, I don't know, 37.
37.
Because it never.
Right now.
You don't, growing up around it, you don't
You
learn
don't realize,
to.
do you?
I guess the appropriate word would be appreciate the weight of who he was, because he never had that, well, I'm somebody, pilgrim, you know, nothing
Right.
like that. I don't know why he would be John Wayne, but he apparently he was. No, but I don't understand, and I still this day, it blows my mind how far the reach of his influence goes.
Well, I moved to town to Nashville in '96, and honestly, what year did he die?
I just saw one of my old neighbors where we lived when he passed away just tuned in. So
Oh, goodness.
Mickey Wiley.
Well, what year did your dad?
95 is
Okay,
when he
so it
passed.
just, there you go. Because
Yeah.
everybody talked about him, greatest singer of all
Yeah.
time. Everyone's telling stories about him, getting to meet him. He had come to the studio where my now husband had been, I guess, maybe not too horribly long before he died. And anyways, very, very, very popular, no doubt about it. But so what would you say your dad taught you other than maybe how to sing or anything on the stage? I'm talking about like character or,
I would say,
because
as
you were
far
so
as
young.
morality and principles go, he's probably taught me more since he passed, because largely my mom raised me because he was on the road all the time. But I would say after he's been gone, just to listen to the stories, to watch him on not just singing stage, but preaching stage, and just being around him as a pastor, his heart for people, his humility of disregarding any accolade when people come to you and just, you know, their words are just dripping with honey and they just love you and gush on you. The one thing I remember him saying is, be careful to people that just come and do nothing but dote and bring gifts, because they're not always in proper motivation.
That's right.
But you treat them and everyone else the same because they all matter.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter if somebody comes to you and they're pretty, ugly, poor, rich, whatever. They matter all the same to God. And that's how Dad approached everyone. And everybody was his best friend. If you just talk to him for more than 5 minutes,
Right.
y'all are best friends now.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
Dad.
Clearly, he had tons of charisma and Clearly, you do too. So I can only imagine
I'm
with
shy,
him.
very introverted.
Well, I
Yes.
grew up at the same church that your dad and the whole family went to, Rivergate Assembly of
Rivergate Calvary
God.
Temple, yeah.
Yeah, Calvary Temple, if you want to go way back. And so I remember them coming to sing, and and I was younger. I mean, in '96 I was 18, so I didn't know the scale either of who the Hensons were until I met my now husband. So, and he was like, the
Johnny
Hensons,
B.
yeah, he loved the Hensons, and you'll catch him listening to the old Henson songs while he's painting or whatever.
Yeah, true.
And for somebody who does music every day, all day,
Yeah.
and they want to go back and listen to that,
Yeah.
I
That's
know,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. None of y'all were with us meeting the Hensons, and Johnny was saying how he had listened to an entire, like all Hensons while he'd been
All
remodeling
Hensons,
your
yeah.
bedroom or
Yeah.
something, or when. And me and Rob laughed about that. It's
Yeah.
like, no, that's a fan right
but
there.
yeah, and it's and Johnny's talented. So.
Oh, he's so
Yes.
talented. But Brother Larry had just died. So it was all fresh,
Fresh,
in
yeah.
all of us, just what an influence the Henson family
Yeah.
had been on us.
Yeah, that was one of those. Okay, I watched my dad kind of
Yeah.
go slowly, and then all of a sudden, Uncle Larry's at your house laughing, cutting up Friday night, and then by Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't remember what day of the week it was. I think it was Wednesday. He's gone, and you're like, it's still even sinking into to this day. Like it can't be real.
So did he die at home or at the hospital?
Uncle Larry passed away.
Oh, you're talking about Uncle Larry.
Yeah,
I'm
oh,
sorry.
Daddy,
Yeah,
no, he
you're right.
passed away in the hospital as well.
Daddy was in the hospital.
Yeah, he was in
Uncle
ICU.
Larry. So here's my conversation, which is maybe a good reason to even talk about this. So Larry and Jana attend our church, and so technically, at the end of the day, that makes me the pastor's wife of of Larry and Jana, and so I feel such a responsibility to be all loving and honestly, the way I felt with Larry is, hey, we all got our own problems. I'm just trying to get through it myself because it was so hard
Yeah, because
on
he
all
was,
of us.
He was a lot like Dad in that big personality and
Oh,
infectious
oh my
laugh.
goodness,
They were two
yes,
very much
yes.
alike people, and I was very close to him as well.
Yeah.
And so I have felt bad, but I've just been honest. And if Jana's watching now, is going to watch later maybe, but I've just, look, I don't know what to say to you. I'm sorry, but I probably should be
Yeah.
like checking in on you more, but it's just too sad. I can't handle it.
Well,
It's
there
just
was a
awful.
lot of people who
Yeah.
felt the loss.
Yes,
Yeah.
we all
He
did.
touched so many lives. And
Yeah.
one of the things it reiterated for me is that we take people for granted.
So for granted.
I had the privilege to sit under his teaching and, have,
Boy, what a teacher.
know him in a way a lot of people didn't, and then one minute, now if you didn't take notes, you missed it. If you wasn't here, you missed it. You don't
That's
get
right.
that
It's a good thing
moment
we filmed it.
back.
That's
Yeah.
right, yeah.
And so, keep that in mind. I mean, that should be fresh on our minds
honor
every
and
day.
appreciate, especially
Yeah.
those with gifts in our midst. It's just the truth that we
and
take
to be
it
in
so
the
for
moment,
granted.
we
We take it so for granted.
I could have sat there on my cell phone and
Uh-huh,
I've
that's
heard
right.
him 100 times, whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you would be hard. You would be hard pressed to
Yeah.
want to do that with him. But just to
Dr.
be-
Larry would, maybe something was said about, well, I remember our anniversary, our 16th anniversary at the church, and we had researched that it meant love or something,
Yeah.
or John 3:16 or whatever. So in the foyer, he comes back and like in 2 seconds, more like 2 minutes, he rattles off all this stuff in Greek and Hebrew. I don't know if this
Yeah.
happened to y'all.
Yeah, all the
and
time.
you kind of feel like you're doing this, like, okay,
Hold on,
let me
let me-
process what you just said.
Here,
Yeah.
Can I record you saying that?
Yeah, like love. Now is that you said love? It's like you have to
Information overload.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Put it in plain terms so I can understand what you're saying. And in fact, he inboxed me some links that day as to what he was saying, and that probably was the last inbox he ever sent me, if not one of the last.
Wow.
And again, you just don't realize what you've got. You just don't. And so you need to appreciate especially the gifted. And like with Dr. Larry, I'll say so many knew him as a singer or from the, quote, Henson family, but he was a man of God. He had
Yeah.
a grasp
He really
on the
was.
word like few
Yeah.
I've ever seen,
He
honestly.
enjoyed singing very much, and you can tell whenever he did it, even up till when he passed. he loved to sing and get up there and got into it. But his
Yep.
passion
Right.
was the Word of God.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Without any question in my mind, his passion was. And so, kind of like what I was talking about earlier, the one way I learned to cope is not to necessarily concentrate on what's missing, but honor what was.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
need to
Hey,
make
I just want to stop real quick and just say, if you're just now tuning in, this is Love for Music City Live, #Girl Sessions, and we have the talented, amazing Weston Henson on with us today, our producer of Love for Music City Live, #Girl Sessions also. And if you will go ahead and hit that share button, we're talking about loss today and grief, how do you deal with loss? And, you know, there may be one of your friends that need to hear something that's said today. So won't you go ahead and hit that share button and invite somebody to come and hear and listen and watch this with you. And if you share, our page and like this video, you'll be entered in to win a
Backpack, school supplies, lunchbox. Yeah.
giveaway.
Beautiful backpack.
And my Aunt
Yeah.
Mary is watching. Mary Sloan and Tracy Pope. I don't know Tracy, but y'all know her from Mounds,
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
Tracy, we sing
Tracy?
at their
All right.
church up in Tulsa.
I
Yeah.
figured. Okay. Well, thank you, Tracy, for watching. So we're talking about loss, and so would you say every year? So this is 25th anniversary of your dad's
Yes.
death. Every year, does it feel as painful, or some years kind of fly by and you don't think about it? Was this like a monumental year because of your Uncle Larry dying as well?
I think it hits in waves. It honestly does. This year was hard because it's almost like you can hear a voice talking, but it gets amplified by microphones. And the voice of grief was talking and amplified a whole lot this year by all the circumstances that happened.
So are you
especially-
saying you deal with grief all the time still?
Not a day goes by I don't think about him at least
In a sad
20
way.
times an hour.
Really? And you're sad?
Because something will remind me of him. And it gets easier to bear, I'll say that. But the feeling of I miss him never goes away
Wow.
for me. And my cousin Matthew asked me,
Yeah.
he said, "Good Lord, you dealt with this at 12?"
Yeah, exactly.
I said, yeah. It was a little different circumstance probably than an adult dealing with it.
Right.
But I think, as probably Crystal can testify, there are little things here and there that'll say, for instance, oh, my dad would have thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I wonder what my dad would think about this. Sometimes I wonder what he would look like today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
How tall was your dad?
6 foot,
6 foot.
just
so
average.
you tower
he
over
was
him.
5'11" or 6
Wow.
foot, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, you know, one of the things that I've noticed is, and I shared this with your cousin, and with my dad, there'll be times where I'm like, oh, I wish I could ask my dad this or that. And if I sit and I just kind of like meditate a minute and pray, and I can hear him. I can hear like what I believe he would have said to me, you know, like, girl, you need to get up and, you know, you got this and you're better than that and you're worth more, you know, and just that, because he always would cheer me on. You know, he was one of my biggest fans. He really was. Perfect? No, but my biggest fan. And I can remember my first birthday after my dad had passed away. And I was a grown woman, you know, and I sat at home and I cried like a baby. And you would have thought my dad would have done these big, elaborate things for me for my birthday. Never. It wasn't like that.
Yeah.
It was just, he wasn't there. And as a woman, for me, not having your original covering, it changes. I mean, you can
There's
probably
something
relate with that.
Very much, even when you're married with your own kids and husband and family and all that, it's just like there's a covering,
Yeah.
a security. It's weird,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's very
And,
weird.
and for me, I'm not stuck in that moment, but all my memories are encapsulated in a 12-year-old mind
Yes, yes.
of my dad.
Yeah.
Because I have nothing past that
Yeah.
to think of. And so every time I remember him, I think of him as the little boy.
Right.
And so you're frozen in the memories of that person at the time they passed. And so
So do you like it when people come and tell you stories about him, what he said, what he did, or whatever? I mean,
yes,
does it make
because
you
I
feel
get
like you know him more?
to experience him again
Yeah.
through
Yeah.
that. And it's an honor to know that it's much better than somebody saying, well, I'm sorry you lost your dad, but he was a creep. He did me wrong. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, he owed me money. Yeah,
he owed me this, or
yeah,
he
exactly.
you know, he,
In the South, they deify all the deceased, so that wouldn't happen here.
yeah.
Well, for me, my mom and my dad, and at my mother's funeral, my mother's parents, my grandparents, I never met. I was born
Jana
late at
just
life.
tuned in.
Aunt Jana, you're not my
Hey,
aunt,
Jana.
but glad you're watching. We were just talking about you. You'll have to go back and rewind. So at my mother's funeral, my grandpa, who had been dead for like 30 years, people were coming up and saying, "Oh, your grandpa, what a man. I got saved under his ministry," and on and on.
Wow.
I'll never forget that. I mean,
Yeah.
I never met him, but these people telling me their experiences about him was like, wow. And then it helped paint a picture of why my mother was the person that she was.
Mm-hmm.
The point of all of that is, for me, it makes me want to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
That people, so, you know, I'm not one. Y'all may do it. I'm not knocking anybody. I don't take flowers to the graveside. I don't go. Maybe maybe Miss Dr. To Be over here can tell me about my personality. I don't visit it. I don't.
Yeah.
They're not there for me.
I do as an honor mechanism for me.
And for me, I'm like, they're gone. So I'm going to honor them by living a life
Right.
that people will be like, wow, who raised her? You know?
Yeah, and that is perfectly great to do. I think that's a
Right.
fantastic way. I just do it as a way to
Or both.
reflect
Yeah.
personally.
Honestly, and again, I'm sure it goes back to my personality, but it's like, I don't want to be that sad. It's
Yeah.
like, why put yourself there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if it makes you feel.
For me, and this might sound a little weird, but I can hear my dad. My dad was very facetious, if you will, sarcastic.
I can believe that. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not a
As you-
stretch, right?
If you meet any Henson, you would understand
Yes.
this. And Aunt Genesis, hello. But sometimes I just go have a conversation and laugh about something and feel him say, "No, what in the world would you do that for? Now, what possessed you to think that would be okay?" Or, you know, it's just that reflection on remembering who he was and how, like, for instance, my dad was very passive. He was very non-confrontational.
So he
I
was
am
like most
the
musicians
opposite
I
of
know.
that.
Okay.
I am the grab the bull by the horns, confront you if I have an issue with you kind of guy because I'm just that way. I'm type A personality. But then I could hear Dad saying, "You just kind of need to let things go sometimes
Chill
and
out."
chill out."
Yeah.
You know, because that's who he was, and so.
But we're not advocating that you speak with the dead, correct? Both
no,
of you
we're
told
not
me
Talking
stories.
to the dead, I am
That is
reflecting
not
on the memories.
what kind of show this
Yeah,
is.
no, we're not channeling.
Yeah,
Coming up
no
next will be the
rituals or anything
seance that
like
we're going to have
no.
here.
Exactly.
On
Well,
Upper Music City.
because your parents are part of who you are.
Yeah.
And they shape you, they mold you, be it good or bad or indifferent, because we mimic what we see. Beyond the genetic pool, I mean, someone can adopt a child from birth or even from like a young age, and that child will mimic the parent because that's how we learn is, you know, if you make a face at a baby, if you stick your tongue out at a baby, guess what the baby's going to start doing? Sticking its tongue out at you.
That's right.
So, you know, and that's how we continue to live, the memories continue to live on, and we can continue to hear them speaking to us in
Yeah.
our own personal way.
But all the more so if you are a Christian and your loved one was a Christian, because if they were led by the wisdom of God, the Spirit of God, I think if you'll just, you know, I don't want to use
It's
a
all
new
in
age
the
word and
raising.
say calm yourself, but you can literally maybe kind of tune in to
Yeah.
the same wisdom that
Right,
they
settle
had.
your mind.
And
Yeah.
there are some that will take what we say as, I can hear my dad saying
Right.
something as literal. No, it's metaphorical, saying I can just sense my dad would be this way.
Right.
Because of my
That's right.
experiences with him and the stories I've heard of him, Daddy would be this way.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I don't
and-
actually hear my dad's voice.
Isn't that
you know,
Yeah, we're
something?
not
that'd be a
hearing
problem.
voices, not that
Yeah.
one anyway. So people tell you sound like your dad. You sing. Do people tell you that knew your dad at your age that you act like him?
Yes.
Okay. See, I
Uncle Larry was
wondering.
one of them.
Okay.
Except for the whole confrontational and type A personality.
All
Dad was
right.
not that way at all. He was very avoid confrontation if he can. But I'm extremely clumsy and extremely forgetful and ADHD like my dad.
Okay.
So I had, for one experience, we were leaving. Uncle Larry and Aunt Jana lived out in Millersville, almost White House, and we had come to visit them, and I had left a trailer in their driveway, and I had to buy new locks and so on and so forth, and I what we call pulled a Kenny, and had left the locks to my trailer on his windshield guard there by his windshield wipers, and just drove off and left them. And so all of a sudden Uncle Larry's calling me. He said, "Son, as long as you're alive, your daddy will never die." Because Dad would forget stuff and he wouldn't put things in a certain place to remember them. He just, wherever he's at, just put something somewhere and then go off and do
Sounds
something.
like a creative personality.
And that's, I don't know if I'm creative, but I'm the same way.
What is so amazing to me, and I certainly don't mean this as a cutting remark, but how someone can be so genius in some areas and then in others, total airheads. It's
Yeah, that's another show.
Thank you.
That's another show.
I'll just listen to the genius part.
So I just wanted to read a few comments. I don't know
Yes.
where we're at on time here, but
We're good.
Miss Jana actually was one of the first people to comment last night, and she said, "I'm so new to the loss of mine. I'm not sure I have advice. I just hold God tighter than ever before and trust Him with my future. Hard moments eventually pass." I think that's good to know out there if you're hurting. Hard moments eventually pass and joy returns. I want to make God, Larry, and my kids proud of me. Oh, that made me want to cry.
I know.
Like, too late, you already do.
Well, yeah, that's already there.
Already
Yeah.
there,
Every-
absolutely.
I know Uncle Larry was extremely proud of her and talked so good about her. And in
Always.
in private
Always.
conversations without her hearing, because you know how sometimes we'll be like, "Well, my wife is fantastic," and she's right next to us. But without her hearing, he would talk her up so much to me about how wise she is and how
Yeah.
there are things that he said, I can't do certain things that she can, and that's why they were the perfect mate for one another, because she was strong where he wasn't.
And he's so secure,
Yeah.
as are you. Some men have a hard time having a wife that is sharp or whatever you want to call it,
Strong or-
intelligent, strong, whatever, because they feel like it takes away from them. But really, it makes you look better, in my
Right.
opinion, if you have a wife that adds to
Yeah.
the couple. And that's how they were. He was always thrilled when she did anything.
And
was
he
never
would
like
be
in
he would be
competition.
the biggest amen corner.
Yes,
and
what
right here for
did-
her
would
to
he
speak.
not?
Or
That's
anything,
right.
yeah.
hmm Or anyone. If we were at a Southern Gospel anything, he would be sitting on the edge of his seat, clapping his hands. A couple times, gonna
As
be
he
honest.
only could.
It's like they didn't deserve that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna
But-
say where we
yeah,
were,
but he
but
was
I
so
mean, he's
sweet
in there
and kind,
pushing.
yeah.
He's in there
Yeah.
pushing. He's in there
Yeah.
trying to help. From the second row or whatever. And don't you appreciate that when you're the one up there singing? It's like, oh, thank God, somebody's like,
I appreciated his
somebody's paying
honesty.
attention.
Absolutely. He
Someone's
was
paying
so
attention.
honest and with his compliments. They weren't just like, "You're fantastic."
true.
He'd
That's
he'd
right.
find a way to
That's
tell
right.
you, and that's kind of who I learned that from. was
That's
him.
right. And I, again, kind of back to my point about being the kind of person that is honors them. When I see Matt and Heather and those who I get to see often, and Jana, it's like, wow, he did a good job in his home. You see it,
Yeah.
because they are living. It's not like when he left. Same for you. Everything he said isn't true. None of that's real.
Yeah.
And many
Yeah.
have done that. But your faith, honor, respect, and otherwise was not based on him. It was based on what he based his on.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's very important.
And that's the most important thing I can take away from
Yeah.
being
Jan-
like my dad is not to be my dad, to be
Exactly.
myself, and who
Right.
God made me
That's
to
right.
be. What he would say to me.
That's right.
And there was a fellow gospel artist not long ago that said, "Boy, I sure know what it's like to live in your daddy's shadow, being in this business." And I said, "But you know what my daddy would have told me? When you shine your own light, there's no more shadow."
That's right.
And it's
good
not to
enough.
say my light outshines his, or it's a comparison in a competition of whose light's brighter, whose light's better, who this that. But it's when you shine the light of God
Right.
that's
We're all
in
supposed to
you,
be shining the light the same way. That's
instead of trying to emulate the light of God in someone else,
Right.
then you
That's
understand then that there is no darkness in that light.
right. That's exactly right.
So
I love that.
I got a couple more comments here I wanted to read. Did you want to read any of these?
Yeah, I can read one.
Your mom did one. I thought this one, well, I definitely want to read Melinda's as well, but Narvis, that is my aunt, Rob's aunt, she lost a child 3 days old after the baby was born.
man, Nothing like losing a child.
She turned to Valium, Percocet, and alcohol to numb the pain. I just want to stop right there. That's what most people do.
Yeah.
Even if you, quote, believe
right.
in God,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure she did at that time as well, you're in so much pain that you turn to this other stuff, and all it does is take you down a darker road. It may numb the pain for a minute, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Right. Well, and there's no grief like the guilt-ridden grief either. Just so.
That's true. You're exactly right. So 2 years later, she dedicated her heart back to the Lord, and she's been a Christian now for 44 and a half years.
Praise
And
God.
she never forgot about her daughter, turned my life around, opened up a recovery facility for women. I'm going to say she's definitely out of the ordinary person to comment. She had a recovery center for women with addiction problems. And here's the bottom line of her whole testimony that she said. I've heard her say it 100 times. Praise God, we can turn our hurts and pains around to help someone else.
Yes.
Get out of yourself. That is a big, big answer. If you are even going to like grief recovery and those kinds of things, you have to be careful because
Yeah.
it can just turn into a, I'm hurting so badly, we all just kind of hurt together, which I'm not trying to belittle that, but you need to bear each other's burdens, and when you reach out to help someone else,
Yeah.
you will find peace in your own life. That's just
That's actually one of
how
the
it
biggest
works.
things, too, that got me through a lot is there's healing and helping.
there you go.
And
That's it.
when you find a purpose greater than just healing yourself and saying,
That's
you know
it.
what, I'm going to reach out and give or
That's it right
help
there.
or work or something for
Right.
other people to help them in their need, then God can now fix your need because
That's
you're not
right.
so defensive of it. And you know what I mean?
That's exactly
you
right.
open up.
Yeah. And if I'm just sitting, if I could probably sit right here. In fact, just talking to y'all today about this, is like, yeah, it is sad. My parents are dead. You know, it's like I could sit here and think long enough, and I could be having a great day
Oh, yeah.
and go into sorrow
Yeah.
because there has been bad days in my life. There's no doubt about it, and we've all had them.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to belittle those who have suffered great losses, especially soon.
Oh, yeah.
One time we were in a ladies' meeting, and this woman who liked attention, I'll just leave it there. I'll tell you more privately, but she goes to one of the other ladies in the church in my earshot. She said, yeah, I'm really having a bad day. Today's Grandpa's birthday, and he's not here to celebrate it. Oh, okay, your grandpa, he just died. Well, he died 32 years ago, but she would have been a child when Grandpa, just trying to get attention is all that was.
Jordy says, hey.
Hey, Jordy. All right, I got one more comment here that I want to read, and this woman's name is Melinda Campbell. Do I have the whole comment?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. She said she prayed a lot. The sting has lessened through, though there's a spot in my heart that will always belong to my husband. Never get out of the Jesus bubble. Stay in church and around people who encourage you in the right ways, which is what we're talking about. This woman, her and her husband, also sang, and I don't think they're in the Southern gospel thing necessarily, but they were gospel singers, maybe more Christian country. And they live in Kentucky, and her husband came here to Nashville for something, and he was hit by a drunken driver. And they had 2 little boys, and it was just maybe, 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. And I remember hearing about her, and then she was in a meeting that I was in, and honestly, it had just happened. This sounds awful to say, but it's like I didn't even really want to greet her because it was so awful what had just happened to her. It's like, what do you, kind of like back to with Jana, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to. The only thing you can do is just love people,
Just, be there
right?
and love them.
Love them, encourage them, because really there is nothing to say when your husband has been killed by a drunken driver. There's
And
nothing to say.
we don't have to be, when we see somebody at loss, especially in an immediate loss, a lot of us, like myself included, want to just jump in and fix it. and
Right,
say that
exactly.
There are no
Yeah.
nifty
That's it.
colloquialisms or any catchy phrases
That's
that
it.
you can tell somebody that immediately goes, you know what, you're right, I don't miss them anymore.
Exactly.
Wow, I feel so
That's
much
right.
better.
That's right. That
They
is so
have
it.
to go through it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just
you
be there.
definitely
Which
do.
is why I struggle in those moments because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. You know what I'm saying?
I eat my foot every day.
Well, and and you want to say, well, all things work together for the good, but it's hard to say that when that's your child. Or,
Yes.
It's like, don't tell me that this is
Right,
good. There's
right.
nothing good for this. I mean, let's be real.
My
you know?
favorite is they're better off.
Yeah. Well, and if they're Christians,
Thank
they
you.
really are, but we're not better off.
I know
Yeah.
they are. This is now about me not having them.
Exactly.
They don't have
Right,
any pain.
right,
I have to deal with
exactly.
it.
That's it.
And,
That's
and
it.
it's very selfish of us, really,
That's
if you think
it.
about
And
it.
it is, and I think God knows that.
Yeah.
And so he's not
Yeah.
like, you are wrong
Right.
for feeling
Yeah,
that.
someone named Patty is saying you don't have to always say something, just a hug or
Listen.
It's exactly
listening. Yeah, that's it. But especially, I'm going to say I am a leader. I carry myself like a leader. I try to, at least. So you want to lead.
Yeah.
Right.
But there is no
There is no-
leadership.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Well,
That's-
I want to read my mom's comment.
Yeah.
She's very acquainted with this whole subject.
Strong woman.
She said, there's only one way to get through the loss of someone who you love dearly. You have to let God fill their spot. Whether it's a best friend, a child, a parent, a sibling, or spouse. I've lost 2 spouses to death, one at a young age and one in less than a year of marriage, and the other after 38 years of marriage. Both hurt badly. But I have to realize God is my husband, no way to survive and stay sane. And, on top of losing two spouses, she's lost 2 children. She's lost grandchildren. I had a niece who was born and passed away not long after. So this is it. I mean, you have to look outside of yourself for the strength, and that strength to her and to me is God.
Yeah.
That's he tells us he'll give us a peace that surpasses all understanding. That means that people will look at you and be like, why you got so much peace? You should be like all tore up right now. You should be like on Valium, Xanax. You should have a bottle in your hand.
Yeah.
But you don't need those things because you have the peace of God.
That's right.
And it's a real gift and it's a real tangible thing. And if you are watching today and you're, struggling with grief and sorrow, I want you to know that the God that I serve, He has a peace available for you. And so if you want to find out more about that, you can inbox us and, I just, say a prayer, call out to him. He'll listen to you, I promise.
Absolutely. You asked me to bring some pictures.
That's right,
I
that's
brought
right.
like 4,000.
They've never been seen. Some
Have been seen, some have not been seen, and there's a video that we're going to play a little afterwards, and I'll set it up when we get to the end of the show, which is, in the next 10 minutes
Next
or so.
10 minutes, yeah.
But I think there's one, if you can play them as I kind of call them out as I remember them, Lawson. By the way, your son, Lawson Tripp, is, I hope, doing a fantastic job back there. It looks good on here.
You
So
can't see us or hear us, it's his fault. And let me just say,
we're going to throw him
my
right under that
grandpa
bus.
was C.A. Lawson. He's named after him. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
But the first one I want to do is my daddy. He is having the scales of justice and one eye is blindfolded, and that's what Dad would do. He'd just find objects that he just thinks this would be really funny if I did something like this. So if you put up the scales of justice, Kenny, picture, and he's blindfolded to, I don't know what he was thinking at the time, but it's just his humor is that way. And Uncle Larry's the same way.
Very much so, yeah.
They always, see, I'm like my dad in this light, and Uncle Larry's similar, and Daddy was mostly this way. But if we ever have somebody taking a picture of us, I don't know, maybe
There
it's
it
my
is.
insecurity of my appearance, I don't
That's
know. Yeah,
great.
that's it. And so I don't know if it's that or not, but we always make really funny faces and weird faces just to be like,
yeah,
and
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, I have seen you make a lot of funny faces.
yeah, and
All right.
so Uncle Larry and Chester Arms, it's the black and white one of a young Uncle Larry, if you can find that one, Lawson. And it's him and Chester Arms making funny faces to the camera because somebody took pictures of him. I'm trying my best, Lawson says. And there's pictures, and these 2 men are my dad and Uncle Larry are probably some of the most influential men in my life. And my dad, when my dad passed, Uncle Larry told me, he said, I promised my brother that I would be, that's them. I promised my brother I would be the
That's
best.
Larry?
Yes, right here on the left is Larry.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
and that's Chester Arms. I think he was either the drummer or bass player. I could be totally off. He was a musician for the band from California.
Oh, I'm trying to think. That looks like another.
I think he was from California. I could be wrong. Aunt Janet can correct me.
All right, keep going.
And then there's another one that's more recent of Dad and Larry. They're in the sweatshirts. Dad's playing a guitar really low in the bottom right of the frame, and Uncle Larry's standing up doing his cross-eyed thing, if you can find that one. And they were funny
That's
faces.
funny. I
And
know
these-
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you could find that, I don't know, because we're about a 15-second lag from whenever he does something to when we see it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so that's just them clowning around, probably around the time of the One More Hallelujah tour that they did. That's the last
I
tour
just
they
want to
did.
say that you and Matt specifically, I'm sure there are others in the family, but no doubt about it, you are carrying on the crazy.
We are probably the most
mantle.
like, the cousins that are most like brothers. Everybody says, it's not that one, but that one's another funny one. Uncle Larry just grabbed a doily or like a table cover, and then they were playing like that was Dad's little baby boy. And so Dad's on the right, and yeah. And so there's another one where Dad's kind of crouched, and Uncle Larry's standing up tall in a red sweater. I believe it's red.
Yeah,
But-
trying to be in a staff meeting with him and Matt.
I
is
know.
Like,
It's
are you
like,
kidding
no.
me right now?
If I have Matt Henson on one side and Weston on the other, it's like, just
You're
leave.
done.
Yeah.
You're done.
No point.
We
Yeah.
might as well put it down.
Pastor Rob always talks about it. I don't even know why I even try with them in here. They should just
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
be on video where you can
Right,
do this.
exactly.
But there
There's
it
the
is
red
right
sweater.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a
yeah. Now,
face.
what is your dad doing?
That's his pirate face.
Okay.
His army bucket.
All right. Now, you look a lot like him there.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. That his crazy face is what looks like me.
That's a good face.
Oh, yeah.
But there's tons of those, and there's one black and white one where Dad's holding me and my sister, and everybody always talks about how he was just starry-eyed in love with his kids. And so if you can find that one, Lawson, throw that one up there, me and my sister and Daddy. And we're both in his lap.
How old was your sister when your dad?
She was
Older than you?
about 3.5 weeks from turning 16.
Oh, so
Okay.
older than you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so precious.
That is
Look at
precious.
little Weston.
Wow.
My little Goldilocks.
All that
You
hair.
had blonde hair?
I had
Wow.
like platinum blonde hair when I was a baby.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Who
cute.
knew?
Yeah,
Now,
and
you look a lot like him there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
except if I don't have the really sweet stash and permed hair.
Well, we can fix that.
Yes,
yeah.
we
Hey,
can.
maybe next week's show.
Misty Freeman told somebody one time, and it got back to me, that the permanent mullet was coming back in, and I said, no,
No.
not happening.
Well, I've seen a lot of mullets lately, even with like the lines shaved in the side. Remember how
Not
people
doing
used
that.
to do that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go with what works for me.
Business
we'll
in
have
the
to have
front,
a
party
hair
in the
show
back.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So-
that is about our time. I want to mention real quick before we go. We mentioned at the top of the hour that we're doing a back to school giveaway today. We've sponsored the summer fire events every year.
Yes.
And today from 5 to 8 in Hendersonville, Tennessee at 403 Walton Ferry Road, we are doing our back to school giveaway. It'll be a drive-through. You come through and drive and get your backpack and your school supply. Not your backpack,
No.
but you get your school supplies.
School
a bag.
supplies, yes.
It has goodies and everything in it. But then you can park and come in and meet our characters, pick up a backpack, get a pair of shoes for your kids. All this is while supplies last, of course. And,
Yes.
you know, if the shoes fit your child, then we definitely want you to get a pair to take home with you. You do have to have a child with you in order to participate. You can't say, well, my kids are at home, or, you know, my neighbor's kids or whatever. We need to see the physical children.
For the
And,
shoes and the backpacks, yes.
Yes. So hopefully you can come out today, get you some pictures with some characters, Kona Ice. It's going to be a good time.
So thank you to those who have sponsored, donated. You can still be a part. We are still in need of shoes. We actually have some more events after today for
Yes.
foster care children. And I'll just let
What time is all this going down?
5 o'clock tonight.
And where?
5 to 8.
403 Walton Ferry, Hendersonville, the Fireplace Fellowship. And you'll pull to the back of the parking lot. We also have Kona Ice going to be here tonight. So if you want to be a part of what we're doing, you can always go online and hit that Donate Now button. Maybe
LoveForMusicCity.org.
LoveForMusicCity.org. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll talk about it next week, but we were just able to send money for shoes for the children in Haiti.
Yes.
They're about to go back to school, and so 34 of them specifically. So thank you for what you're doing. There is, I like to say, there is a purpose to what we're doing here,
Yes,
and
there is.
we've been able to raise money to help a lot of underprivileged children in Middle Tennessee and around the world, but it's because you help us. So thank you, and we love to talk about things that help people, bless people. So thank you for joining the conversation. You want to hold up that backpack one more time? We're going to give this away for those who like and share this program, and it's full of goodies, and so we're going to mail this to you. And
it has a 3-year warranty.
And it has a 3-year warranty.
Says it right
so
there on the tag.
Doesn't make you smart.
I went to school.
So thank you, Weston.
You bet.
And
He
maybe,
has something great for us to go out with
Yes, I
today.
do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is a video that's never been seen before by Outside Eyes.
Wow.
Never been on any social media yet. This is a debut of sorts. This is 1986. Uncle Larry had left the road from the family's music in 1981, I believe it was. And again, Aunt Jenna, you can correct me, it's either 1980 or 81. And I believe it was 81. So he went to evangelize and kind of preach with his wife, Jana. And so they moved to Eufaula, Oklahoma. And the Hensons had come to Muskogee, Oklahoma in 1986. And so Uncle Larry showed up, and little didn't they know, I don't know, they probably did, but then Chris and the Freemans were there that night, and so was Bo. The only one that was not there that night was Eric. So anybody who sang with the family at that point, except for Eric, was present, and they all sang together on this song that Uncle Ronnie wrote called "Till the Land," and it was a guest appearance by Uncle Larry, and he did his signature verse, and we want to play it for you, and we'll go out with you. God bless you.
God
We
bless
love you.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Had a lot of requests while we were back there at the lobby, and most of the songs that were requested are, as down through the years come to be expected, songs that greatly feature me, and they laugh.
They've heard you before.
We've had some requests for Larry to sing a song with us. I'll introduce this song, thank you, because I wrote it myself. And Kenny introduces it. He says, let's see, how was it? A woman came up to me the other day, or not long ago. The other day and not long ago, could both be about 3 years ago. And she said, I want to hear y'all sing that one called Tilt the Land. Tilt the Land. So we're going to try to sing Tilt the Land tonight, okay? Here we go. I don't know if Larry's ever sung it this way or not, but it's Tilt the Land. Put it in the key of R.
Are you ready, Elmo?
Which one of us is Elmo? Or did you
Shoe fits Warren. Yeah. While God's still searching for someone to till the land, I used to think we had all the time we need, just to plow the field and plant the seeds. But now I realize the darkened sky and grain, and we're all to blame. Yet in his nail-scarred hands, there is a deed to a land of abundant yield, and he seeks for you to join that few and work the field. Say no tomorrow, not home to the ground. There's no time to borrow. Sound of now. Well, helpless millions reach out for mercy's hand, while God's still searching for someone to till the land. Here comes the train wreck right here. Yes, God's still searching for someone to till the The Lawrence Team.